Hello, America, and other friendly nations around the world. Here I am outside of a theater, a live theater. Now, what's great about a live theater is you can be anything here. You can be a train conductor, you can be a greaser, you can be whatever you can think of. But the big question I'm asking is, can you be a superhero? I based my whole script off of this. Now, the first thing you should know about me is that for my entire life, my favorite thing in the world has been superheroes. Now don't feel bad if you didn't notice that. No, honestly, it's okay. I'm often too subtle when it comes to my hobbies. I love everything about them. The colorful costumes, the creative powers, the cool action, and the way they can inspire younger generations to do the right thing and use their imaginations. I know I did growing up. So you can imagine in this oversaturated superhero pop culture nightmare we've all been stuck in for the last decade, I've been pretty much in Candyland. That's not to say I can't tell when a product is bad or I'll blindly watch anything put in front of me, but I'm always at least willing to give something a chance. It's undoubtedly my favorite type of genre? Aesthetic? Concept? I don't know, I still haven't finished my degree. So I couldn't find a binder for my loose leaf textbook, so I just put it together with zip ties. This isn't a joke, but when I tell people about it they laugh, so I figured I'd put it in. Now, the other big thing about me is that I am, in fact, an actor. That's right. I've been performing on stages since I was about 10 years old, whether it's in school productions, local theaters, or just in showcases where I teach the community what real acting is.
See, she was acting.
I've been doing this for several years now, and I've done all different types of shows, from comedies to musicals to dramas to Shakespeare, on stages, in rooms, and on live streams. Don't ask.
We live in a society.
So being this weird polymerization of superhero dork and theater dork, my big question is, why haven't there been more plays based on superheroes? Only the good stuff. I know there have been very successful shows based on original concepts, but for this video I'm more talking about adapting big superheroes and making big Broadway shows about them. You may think this type of adaptation may seem a little silly, but ask yourself, is it really that big of a stretch compared to, say, Beetlejuice, Rocky, Evil Dead, Carrie, Silence of the Lambs, The Grinch, and Jerry Springer, the musical? I mean, when you think about it, superheroes sound like a perfect fit. The bold action, the colorful costumes, and most important of all, superheroes love to dance. Well, in my quest to figure it out, I stumbled across some attempts. 3 stage shows based on the 3 biggest superheroes around. So I figured we could take a closer look at these productions and see why they may not have been the big hit at the time. Let's start with the big cheese, the man who started it all, the guy whose movie franchise just can't catch a break. Superman. In 1966, the world of Broadway was introduced to the Man of Steel in a show called It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman.
Hi there, America and friendly nations everywhere. Glad we could get together.
I'm not doing a full breakdown in this video, so if you want to check that out, you can check out this video from Broadway by Gaslight. Link in description. With a book co-written by Robert Benton and David Newman, the former of which would go on to write and direct Kramer vs. Kramer, and both of them going on to write actual superhero movies, lyrics by Lee Adams of Bye Bye Birdie, and composed by Charles Strouse, who along with Birdie would go on to write for Annie, which by coincidence I was also in. You know, some people have accused me of being a ham. I mean, with a stacked bunch of creatives in the rack, what could have possibly gone so wrong that this show closed in less than 4 months and was considered the biggest flop in all of Broadway at the time? Personally, I think it may have been an issue of timing. The late 60s weren't exactly seen as the time for bright cheerfulness, so a guy like Superman may not have been what stagegoers were looking for. Let's look at the show that actually won Best Musical at the Tonys that year, Cabaret. Oh, another show I happen to be in. How about that? Isn't that a funny coincidence, everybody? I guess I won't spoil it too much, but it's a show that takes place in 1930s Germany, mainly in a sleazy nightclub. It's a rather tragic story about love, hate, and the dangers of ignoring fascism when it doesn't seem to affect you or the people around you. It's a moving show when performed right, and it still feels relevant even over half a century later.
Oh, you mean politics? What has that got to do with us?
Sally, don't you understand? If you're not against all this, you're for it. Or you might as well be.
Contrast that with Superman, a silly, goofy show where Clark Kent is goofing off and hoping for Senpai Lois to notice him.
Oh, Clark, have you been there all along?
Yeah, for 4 hours.
It just kind of feels hokey, you know? That being said, when I was able to find some footage of this show, I honestly really enjoyed it. It doesn't take itself seriously, and I think the music is catchy. While I don't think it would light Broadway on fire today, I think it would be a pretty good show for community theaters to put on, especially ones that need shows that have lots of fun ensemble parts. I am very happy to say that there have been several successful revivals of the show in the 21st century. I was able to find one as recent as 2018.
Forget this! I'm out of here!
Holy Musical Batman by Star Kid Productions. What makes this one unique is that this isn't at a major theater production where you have to pay $200 just to see it. Star Kid Productions put this on their own YouTube channel, along with a lot of their other work. I discovered this show in college and I immediately fell in love with it. The basic plot involves Batman taking on Robin as his sidekick and dealing with a huge gaggle, is that the right word? Gaggle? Yeah, gaggle of supervillains, including a new villain, Sweet Tooth. I don't think there's much for me to say critically, mainly because this show knows exactly what it wants to be. A silly superhero show that honestly has really good music.
I wanna be your friend forever.
I wanna play Nintendo.
Who needs Nintendo when you got a friend? Go!
It feels like everyone involved really loves the source material, and it shows. I would say go buy a ticket, but again, Star Kid has it officially on YouTube, so maybe go buy some of their merch? These shirts look fun? Maybe I'll get one eventually? But what if we tried something with the best of all worlds? What if we wanted a musical with big musical talent, big theatrical talent, cool costumes, maybe a big amount of stunts, and some really good music? That'd probably be the best one ever, right? Right? Okay, no, there's no joke. We knew where this was going. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. I won't drone on about this one. I recommend these videos by Wait in the Wings and Lady Emily if you want more in-depth discussion about this mess. Links are always in bio. My interest lies in what this show tries to do to elevate superheroes into something you would pay $200 to see. I think the cast and costuming looks the part whenever I see it. Big stunts across the theater sound great on paper. Again, there's obviously a lot of talent behind this. And to be perfectly honest, Freak Like Me is an absolute banger. 10 out of 10, would Goblin again. If I had to be overly simple and sum up why I think the show didn't work, I think it's just that it doesn't really capture the appeal of Spider-Man and his stories. Even in the other shows I've talked about, silly as they are, you can at least see an essence of Batman and Superman in those. I know I'm not the first one to say this, but when it comes to Turn Off the Dark, the actual story of Peter Parker and his iconic struggles just feel like an afterthought. And yes, I do mean both versions. Not to mention the mess behind the scenes, including the tragic accidents that the stunts caused these performers. That's a far more serious issue than me whining about the source material will ever be, so I have little interest in joking about it. So, we have 3 shows based on the biggest heroes around, but why can't they get some recognition from the biggest stages? Well, for me, I think it's demographics. As much as nerds online may try to deny it, superheroes have always existed for kids. And that's good. But kids aren't going downtown to the big theaters to see a show. Not when they can go online and watch those weird Spider-Man Elsa videos on their parents' tablet. Is that still a relevant joke? I don't know, oh well.
Honor is a distant memory.
But there is some hope. While I doubt the average young superhero fan might want to see a big show like these out in a theater, maybe they would be interested in making their own. In 2019, Marvel announced they were working with Samuel French Publishing to make 3 new plays based on some of their younger characters. These shows have some big talent behind them in the writing, and they seem to have deliberately chosen these heroes so they can be played by young performers. Ms. Marvel, Squirrel Girl, and teenage versions of Thor and Loki. Now these shows aren't going to Broadway, they're actually available for licensing to community and school productions, and I think that's great. Hopefully shows like this can get people interested in performing, to get out there and audition. I think that's really an amazing concept. I do sincerely want to say, if you have ever been interested in performing a show, or just doing stuff behind the scenes, please go for it. If you find a local theater and just put yourself out there, you would be surprised how much you can learn, and all the amazing people you can meet. It is a hobby that has enriched my life for many years, and I'm sure it can do the same for you. Okay, so there hasn't been a superhero that's really lit up Broadway yet. But honestly, it's fine, as long as people keep trying to make cool and interesting shows. And I might not have gotten into the theater here, but I think I might know one more way. Okay, I'm inside. Let's see if this disguise works.
A few moments later.
It didn't work.